Hey guys, hi grandson. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're reacting to Japan's most evil cult by akidearest. I'm probably butchering that, but I saw this and it just looks really interesting as a person who's a big fan of anime, and of course Japan's the anime capital of the world, who also loves looking into different cults and stuff like that. This automatically caught my eye. I was like, okay, I gotta check this out. I gotta see what it's about. So this we're going to do today, guys. Before getting into, if you like me, so do give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share the video. Do all things to help the algorithm, help the channel continue to grow. If you guys would do so, if you don't mind, make sure to let me know your thoughts on the comments. So I take reaction, like you love your Hades or anything else you want to react to, by akidearest or anything like a cult thing or something like that. Make sure to list them in the comment section. Make sure to check out those questions of the video as well as the channel and my social media. But let's get into this.
オウム真理教は1987年朝原孫氏によって設立されました。私たちが目指すのは仏教の真理に基づき一人一人が幸福になることであり、最終的には離脱悟りです。
グルを持たず一人で修行していたので、それこそ試行錯誤の連続だった。自分の修行に対する確信ができ、とても嬉しかったものだ。なぜならこれは経典上正しい修行によって身につく神通力とされていたからである。こんなにたくさんの弟子を指導すると言ったって一体どうやってと誰もが思うことだろう。しかしどんなに弟子が多くとも、またどんなに場所的に離れていたとしても、そんなことは何の問題にもならない。
本日朝原死刑囚をはじめ
と
する大事件の死刑囚の執行が行われました。
Other techniques of mind control included hours of chanting and listening to tapes like this.
Oh my god. I'm already scared.
Followers paid thousands of dollars to be blessed by Asahara, to drink his blood or tea brewed from his hair.
Oh god.
When I first came to Japan, I remember that first week of feeling overwhelming culture shock. I had always been interested and fascinated by Japanese culture from what I'd seen and what I read on the internet, but actually stepping into a new country and a new culture is always a completely
I want to go there one day myself.
From the train station rush hours to vending machines on every corner to thousands of years of tradition preserved that sometimes as a foreigner you feel like you have to keep up with just to fit in. And yeah, anime is also somewhere twined into all of that. One thing that has just never escaped my mind is, where the fuck are all the trash cans? As bizarre as it seems, Japan is one of the cleanest countries in the world, and yet also simultaneously has some of the least amount of public trash cans available. This is one of the most common concerns
I did not know that.
People that have lived or stayed in Japan. It's actually
that is
so
interesting
that
and
it's become
weird.
An inside joke with everyone. If you've ever asked yourself this question, then a quick Google search will lead you to results that nearly all say the same thing. A domestic terrorism attack in 1995 where a Japanese cult released sarin gas in Tokyo's subway system. The attack was said to be the most serious attack upon Japan since World War II.
Oh my
god. The cult was named 𝐓𝐴, and the leader responsible was Shoko Asahara. I'm Detective Aki, and this is On the Case.
Okay, that was cute. I like this. That was cute. Alright. I like the way she's doing this. This intro is dope. Look at that. She got the mustache and everything. That's awesome. I gotta give her props just for that.
Welcome to On the Case. This is a series that I do on this channel where I go over urban legends and cases in Japan and explain them in great detail. Now, some of you may have seen various YouTube videos talking about this case, but in this video, I'm going to be sharing footage from Japanese media outlets, visit locations of the crime, and unveil how a group went from a religious group loved by thousands to a recognized foreign terrorist organization in several countries. In order to do this, we're going to have to dive into the childhood of the leader of this cult, Shoko Asahara.
This is already interesting.
Shoko Asahara was born under the name Chizuo Matsumoto. Matsumoto was brought up by a large
got a
poor
cheese
family
ball
of
face.
tatami mat makers. He was
Very
born with a
pudgy
condition
face.
that caused him to lose sight in his left eye and partially blind in his life, which caused them to enroll in Kumamoto Prefectural School for the Blind. His parents had faith that he would be able to make something of himself despite his condition, but Shoko
Probably
Asahara
not this is what they
ruthlessly
bullied
other
imagined.
students and took their money. But at the same time, he became somewhat a leader of other children because he was the only one that could partially see. He wanted to attend medical school but wasn't accepted due to his impaired eyesight. He then aimed to enter
So he
health
was a
school
good
but failed
buddy?
the entrance exam. As he grew up,
Okay.
he eventually graduated and studied acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. He also married a woman who birthed him 6 children. But in
Oh God, that
1982,
poor woman.
Matsumoto was arrested for selling fake Chinese medicines at a pharmacy without a license. He was fined $2,000 and given a brief jail sentence. He filed for bankruptcy and became even more obsessed with fortune-telling, yoga, Buddhism, and divination. Eventually, he asked himself, "What am I living for? Is there anything absolute? Does true happiness really exist in this world? If so, can I get it?" As his obsession with divination and religion grew, Matsumoto claimed to have been meditating on a beach in Kanagawa and that a god descended from the sky and said, "I
Oh,
appoint
God.
you as the god of light who leads the armies of gods." A photograph was
He
published
had
of
to been
Matsumoto
high that day.
seated in lotus position, levitating in the air. Along with this, he published a book claiming he could levitate, control weather, and had telekinesis. Not long after, Matsumoto
So
went
he
to
was
visit the
Superman.
Dalai Lama and had a photo taken of them that he would later use in his books to make his work seem more legitimate. He started a
Wow.
religious group called 𝐿 which later got renamed to 𝐿𝐶, which translates into Supreme Truth. It was after this that he
That's
decided to
funny.
change his name to Shoko Asahara. The reason for this name, he thought Asahara was a classier family name and Shoko was a word that means offering of incense. Asahara went to the government to apply his group as a legitimate religious organization. Authorities were reluctant at first, but eventually granted them the legal recognition.
That was a terrible
and
mistake.
𝐿𝐶 was born.
Oh, they bet they wish they could take back.
𝐿𝐶 had beliefs that tied in bits of Buddhism, Hindu, and Christianity. They believed the end of the world was imminent and that they alone would survive. The
Yep.
followers were told
That's how it
that
always
Japan would
is.
fall and there would be a nuclear war. There were also hints of murdering the emperor. Their belief was simple: accept Shoko Asahara and you would attain salvation. Asahara continued to publish books claiming many things. In his book titled Declaring Myself the Christ, well, the title becomes self-explanatory. He claimed to be the man of God who could absorb bad karma of his followers. He would tell the people that if they rejected him, then they would be destined to be born as animals.
So this dude was super insane, bro. Like, first he's a mutant, now he's Jesus freaking Christ, bro. Wow. And the government let this go. They gave this the okay. I mean, I'm sure they didn't think, oh, they probably thought, oh, this dude was just some scammer. You know, whatever, he may create like a skull camp, like a you know, that steals people's money, whatever. Probably not mass murder group, but come on, man, like just these signs, I would be like, nope. This dude writing book stuff where he can publish and levitate, and a god came down and told him he was the leader of God's armies, the god of light. I would be like, no, I'll be like, all right, if you're a god, well, shoot yourself then. Take this bullet, shoot yourself, and if you don't get hurt or you don't bleed or you die and you come back, I'll believe you then. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's true. Like, this is, I feel like this is some of the only work reads really for desperate people who truly are lost and looking for anything, you know, to guide them. That's happened a lot through history of people who sign up for these cults and for these different things because they feel these people, this guy gives them purpose, and it's just it's crazy, man. Like I don't know. That's why I said I could never personally understand who would follow somebody like this.
hungry ghosts, and end up in
I'm surprised
due to their
the
bad
church
karma.
wasn't mad.
To become a part of any society, you have to go through an initiation, and in the case with 𝐲𝐶𝐬𝐿, Asahara was considered to be so pure that people would actually eat off of his plate, drink his dirty bath water, touch his feet, and other things that would normally be very unhealthy for a person to do. Some would even
I ain't drinking no
brew his
damn
hair
bath
in
water.
tea. And you couldn't just walk in for free and go through this initiation.
Okay.
To become a member meant paying a hefty sum. One member
It's a
claimed that
Meg
he
Bryan
paid
situation.
$8,100 for the blood initiation that involved drinking Shoko Asahara's blood. The ironic thing about all of this was that the cult was taught to stray away from materialism. Some less disgusting initiations involved being put through physical and mental obstacles, such as immersion in hot baths and living underground for days at a time. It was found later that some people would actually die through this process, and that the cult covered it up by secretly cremating their bodies. Now, after all of this has been said and done and you are officially in the cult, you get the privilege to listen to a tape like this for hours on end.
Oh hell no! No, this is some hypnotism shit right here, bro. No, no.
You could also be one of the lucky members to wear this electrical cap that members believe to help synchronize your brainwaves with Asahara's. 𝐲𝐶𝐬𝐿 was growing in size and reputation within Japan.
So what is... Oh...
Is she having a goddamn seizure?
少し待っててください。落ち着いてますから。
何ですか？
すごい幸せな気持ちですごい満足感があってで肉体とこう自分の意識とか違う
These bitches are different.
They had collected members of various skills. Many of them were students at elite universities, and normally this is rare, but the students signed up because of the pressure of being successful, and the cult promised them a more meaningful and stress-free life. But all of this was a disguise to
They promised them an easy way
to help aid the cult's popularity even further, while at the same time breaking their confidence. The cult even managed to get members in Japan's military forces. This was especially useful to Shoko Asahara for his plans later down the line.
Where was Japan when all this was happening?
Shoko Asahara. He was garnering fame and money from television, followers, and news outlets from all over. One report claimed them to have over 9,000 members in Japan and as many as 40,000 worldwide.
God
the cult
damn.
even created their own anime studio called MAT, which stood for Manga Anime Team. Anime was growing rapidly in Japan.
They had their own. Oh my god! They tainted what I love. Oh, they tainted what I love. They got to animate too. No, no. Oh my god, man. Where was the government? Somebody. Why was this man being allowed to do this shit? Why? Oh, we're with a freaking like I can't believe this. I can't believe some stuff up here, man. You know, like it. And like I said before, like she was talking about, you know, kids like who want an easier path. Like I said, like that's what people do. They follow these people who they feel can give them an easier life, the easier pathway out. That's how they get you. Like, but they like, God, I can't believe they got the anime.
So an anime called Shoatsu Sekai was produced with the intent of recruiting anime fans and otakus into their cult. It must have worked considering that there's about 272 of you that signed up according to my anime list.
Oh god.
And while I'm on the topic of their anime, I should probably address a video game thought to be made by the cult themselves.
They made
the
video
game was
games
called The
too?
Story of Kamukushiki Village, where you play as Shoko Asahara himself. It caused a stir of reviews online in fear that anyone who played it was subjecting themselves to be brainwashed into joining the cult. Fortunately, this was never the case. It was purely satirical and created by a Japanese internet troll who wanted to take jabs at the cult.
Oh,
and to
thank
Japanese
God.
people playing, the way the story is read makes it actually very obvious this game is satirical. So if you ever see any YouTube videos telling you otherwise, know that it isn't true.
Okay,
now,
that's
back to the
good. That's
cult.
good. I was worried. I was like, come on, video games too, damn.
Not everyone, of course, was a fan. As the cult grew, more and more people started disappearing. Some were killed in secret by the cult, and some were threatened to stay. Friends and families began protesting in concern for their loved ones' whereabouts. Because of this,
I'd have
growing
dragged my
outrage,
daughter
a
out
man
there,
by the name
man.
of
No.
Tatsumi Sakamoto stepped in. He was an anti-cult lawyer who sought out to rescue members of the cult and reunite them with their families. He had previous experience in bringing down cults before, and 𝐕 was next on his list. Sakamoto started organizing a campaign against the cult. He established what was called the 𝐕 Victims Association. In order to pursue a class action lawsuit against Asahara, he needed to get members to testify that they did not join the group voluntarily, and that they were lured in by deception and were being held against their will. Sakamoto knew that in order to bring down the cult, he had to destroy the image by debunking the cult's claims. One claim was that Shoko Asahara had divine power running through his blood, and somehow Sakamoto was able to convince the cult leader to submit to a blood test to prove that. After taking it, the results showed no sign of any supernatural phenomenon, and the evidence proved to be potentially damaging to Asahara. Soon after that, the lawyer filmed an interview with a local news station in Tokyo about his doubt and efforts to expose the cult. This was it. All that needed to happen now was to air this interview and Asahara would be exposed to the world. Unfortunately, before the interview could air, someone from the news station showed the footage to the cult members, and the news station was pressured to cancel broadcasting it. Not long after, some of the cult members, including the chief scientist, got together to eliminate Sakamoto. They packed syringes filled with potassium chloride with the intent to knock out the lawyer and waited for him to come to the train station. But Sakamoto never showed up.
Oh, thank God.
The members pursued Sakamoto in his own home. They found one of the doors unlocked and snuck in. When they walked into the bedroom, they found Sakamoto, his wife, and a 14-year-old baby in the crib next to them. Sakamoto was smashed in the head with a hammer, and his wife was beaten, while another member injected the baby with the syringe filled with potassium chloride. They later injected it into the couple. The wife died quickly from the toxins, but Sakamoto not as much. So instead, the cult strangled him to death. Afterwards, their bodies were placed in metal drums, and the cult separated their bodies in 3 separate prefectures. They hoped that by doing this, the police wouldn't be able to make a link between their murders. Not only that, their teeth were smashed to warp their identity. Their bodies would not be found until the gas attack soon to come, 6 years later. Some believe that this was the cult's way of intimidating other lawyers. Wow. But even doing that didn't stop some lawyers from chasing after them. Others did begin challenging the cult. One journalist was able to uncover the disappearance of the Sakamoto family and was pursued, but she avoided being found. Another lawyer by the name of Toko Takimoto went in and debunked Shoko Asahara's book on levitation. After feeling humiliated by the lawyer, Shoko Asahara added Takimoto to the hit list and had an assassination attempted on him. Luckily, it was not successful and he was hospitalized, making a full recovery.
Thank God, man.
Oh,
I can't believe that, man. It's sorry, guys. I just man. Sometimes it's just always so shocking lengths that people will go through for things like this. Like I can't believe they really did that. They really killed the baby and just. Oh my God, for some fucking psycho, man. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm genuinely like emotional. That just makes me hear me sad. Especially the baby. The baby was completely innocent. It did not deserve that. So was the wife. They did not deserve what happened to him, man. That's so wrong. Like and yet this dude was Jesus Christ and the God of light. But here he is sending hits and assassination on people. Like, come on, bro. I thought you're supposed to be of a higher plane, a higher thinking. Like, a being of that level would not assassinate somebody. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, it's like I can't begin to get into the mindset of somebody who will follow this guy. Like, that's I could never, man. I could never get to that type of mindset. It's just it's too far for me. It's too far. So I will go this far for a person over some bullshit which shows no truth. People disappearing. I'm not ever see a family, and like it's just crazy, man.
𝐕 true colors were beginning to unravel each passing day. Asahara continued to preach that the apocalypse was coming and no one outside the cult would be safe. He continued to use fear and manipulation on his followers. In 1990, Asahara decided to run in a House of Representatives election with 24 of his members.
Are you
Despite
serious?
And overshooting their confidence, the cult only received a little over 1,700 votes.
Thank
and
God.
lost the election.
They certainly got that many.
To truly spur Asahara's hunger for power, which began his pursuit of overthrowing the Japanese government.
Of course.
He began a project Asahara and his most loyal followers built a facility where they would begin experimenting with chemical weapons. The intent was to use these weapons against their enemies and put the cult on top. As they were testing out chemicals, a foul odor began coming out of the facility and disturbing the neighbors nearby. The fumes inhaled would cause symptoms such as nosebleeds and convulsions. When citizens protested in front of the facility, the cult blamed the US Army, saying the United States had released poison gas on the area.
Of course it's our fault. It's always our fault.
And provided hundreds of photos proving that the cult was responsible for
Thank God, people coming together.
and that they were up to no good. The evidence was removed, but the cult decided to move their facility to a sheep station in Australia, which cost over $50 million.
Wait, it was removed? Are you serious? Like, this that type of shit. Oh, this that type of shit that makes you lose trust in the law enforcement and the government. You telling me they put 100 pictures of them saying they're doing this bad shit over here, but they're like, oh no, let's get rid of it. It was the Americans. It was the Americans, like those hot dog eating hillbillies over there. Like, come on, man. Like, that's it. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating when you see somebody do that shit, where people come together to say, hey, look, this person is doing dangerous things where we live, and they just don't do anything about it. But I guess it just shows the power and influence that he had
to develop. Some truly question how lacking the security was over watching the cult.
Thank you!
A member who was fined for transporting the chemicals hidden in sake bottles. One of the members, who was a chemist, helped create the sarin gas that would be used in the cult's murders.
Thank God I didn't go to Japan at this time.
They decided to test it out.
I mean, I wasn't live there
myself. Some
myself.
things that you should know about sarin gas. Sarin is an odorless and colorless gas that has the power to kill quickly and painfully. Imagine the worst cramp you've ever had in your life. Now times that by 100, and instead of in one place, it's in every part of your body, including your eyes. Sarin causes your nervous system to go haywire by flexing every muscle in your body until you get painful cramps that are so extreme that it can even disrupt your diaphragm, preventing air going into your lungs. It's an extremely painful way to die, and anyone in contact with it is at risk of dying in just under 10 minutes. It's been classified as a weapon of mass destruction and is banned from use in modern warfare. No thanks to the chemists and military personnel that were involved in the cult, this is how they got their hands on the substance. Asahara ordered his first attack in an apartment block in Matsumoto Nagano Prefecture, Japan, where he sought out 3 judges living there. He was paranoid that these judges were out to rule against him in a lawsuit. Not to mention, Asahara was also angered by residents where over 140,000 signatures were signed in a petition against the cult's wishes to establish.
This is too much, man. It should have never got this far, bro.
It was a warm evening, and most of the residents were leaving their windows open at night to let the fresh air come into their homes. But as they slept, the cult released the sarin gas in the neighborhood. 7 people died and hundreds were injured. One of the victims went into a coma for 14 years and died shortly after awakening.
Oh my God.
The police investigated the area and found dead fish, dogs, birds, and caterpillars surrounding the neighborhood. Despite tip-offs, the police did not link the attack to the cult. Little did anyone know that at the time, the Matsumoto gas attack was an experiment for the cult's biggest terrorist attack.
No. No. You're telling me you couldn't link this shit, bro? Are you serious? What type of stupid ass... The most dumb fucking cops are. So this cops were doing all this bad shit. All this bad news going on about these cops. They didn't kill people. They ain't done this and that. And you're telling me you couldn't, like, you couldn't connect that, bro? Like, somebody had to say, like, this is the cost to it. Somebody had to say it, bro. Like, God damn, man. I can't, just being killed in your sleep, bro. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, shit, man.
Fingerprints from the Matsumoto gas attack linked one of the cult members to the case, and the police set out to raid the cult on March 22nd. But Asahara had friends in high places.
I'm sorry he did.
2 cult members just happened to be inside Japan's armed forces and warned Asahara that the police were coming in just a few days. So Asahara acted fast and ordered an attack on the Tokyo subway lines close to the police department. Some believe that this was a desperate attack on Asahara's part to begin the apocalypse. The attack was set to hit during rush hour at the absolute busiest part of the transport systems. It's March 20th, 1995 at about 8 a.m. Thousands of citizens board the trains during rush hour to go to work. Among them were 5 cult members that carried out Asahara's orders and split up to different trains on one of the busiest lines in Tokyo. Each of them is holding a plastic bag filled with liquid sarin wrapped in newspaper. They boarded the train and set the bags gently on the ground. As soon as the train would come to a stop, the cult members would stand up virtually at the same time as if to exit the train. They would use the tips of their umbrellas to puncture the bag, which leaked out the sarin. As the members exited the train, they would meet with an accomplice in a getaway car just outside the station and return to 𝐈 headquarters. As the cult members drove away, the liquid would...
Hey, it's me. You're...
Sorry about that, guys, but man, this is insane, man. I can't believe they were able to do all this destruction. Like, so much death just for the, like, for the craze of a madman who had, I can love it, ugh, what is he, Criss Angel?
Quickly evaporate and spread within the train cars. The sarin liquid vaporizes and begins to spread its fumes throughout the train. Passengers began to inhale the deadly nerve gas and showed severe poisoning symptoms. People began coughing and looking around, and almost immediately they began convulsing with muscle spasms. Blood begins to pour from their noses and their mouths. The train is still running, making its stops, and incoming passengers come in contact with the sarin gas. Others that escaped the train fast enough still had difficulty breathing. After 3 stops, a passenger desperately hits the emergency button and the train
Why didn't you do that before?
Stop. But the train found itself in the middle of a tunnel and was forced to continue to stop at the next station. The first call to the police is made. An announcement was made for everyone to please evacuate the station, and the passengers made a run for the exit. 13 passengers died from the sarin gas, while thousands more were injured. At first, everyone believed it was an explosion, but quickly the train line completely shut down in order to evacuate all commuters at Kasamigaseki Station. As staff members searched for the source of where the gas was coming from, 2 members died in the process. While others tried to mop up the liquid, they too fell ill from the exposure. It wasn't long until investigators connected the incident to the cult. I took a trip to Kasamigaseki Station, and it was here that the train stopped to evacuate all of its passengers. Staff members were scrambling around to locate and dispose of all of the sarin bags. It's also at the station that every year a memorial is held to remember all of the victims. And as of March 20th, 2021, the station held its 26th anniversary memorial. From what I had researched online, it seems that the sarin bags were put into the train rather than in trash cans. But because of fears of another attack in the future, the government removed all of its trash cans because it was seen as a potential hiding spot for sarin bags. Before I continue on, I want to discuss the victims and shed a light on just how much this incident changed Japan. I feel sometimes exposures are almost completely given to the criminal and almost never to the victims.
That is true. That is true.
Whether it's just human nature for us to look at a car crash we can't look away from.
Violence has always been so popular, man.
I decided
always
to
the bad stuff.
After reading Haruki Murakami's book Underground. This book was completely dedicated to focusing on the lives of the victims through the interviews and first-hand experiences.
That is
like
awesome,
I'd been shot
man.
Or something. All of a sudden, my breathing completely stopped. Like if I inhaled any more, all my guts would come spilling right out of my mouth. I was walking back to the office to my
I can't imagine, man. Like
Officer Matsumoto came out with
to just be on a train and all of a sudden, like, wanting to throw up your guts.
We found
like,
Toyoda, Takahashi, and Hishinuma with a bundle of wet newspapers on the platform. They're stuffing it all by hand into plastic bags, but there's liquid coming from them and spilling into the platform. There was a very strong smell. Then Takahashi walked over to the trash can at the end of the platform, probably to fetch some more newspaper to wipe up where it was still wet. Suddenly he sinks down in front of the bin and keels over. Takahashi's face looked awful. He couldn't talk. We laid him on his side, loosened his tie, and he looked in really bad shape. The news had broken out, and the police
I hope they gave him the
𝐈
death
headquarters.
sentence.
Shoko Asahara was found hiding in a concealed room. He was sweaty and seemed to had intended to stay in hiding for some time. But once he was brought into questioning, he denied the allegations and said that he couldn't possibly have done it because he was a blind man. His followers denied it as well and said that it was a separate plan made by other cult members instead. After further interrogation of the cult members responsible, they all said they legitimately thought what they were doing was right.
Many Japanese, he is guilty and must be punished by death.
Thank you.
And so judge will think.
Hopefully.
While members may have confessed, Shoko Asahara stayed silent. He went through an 8-year trial and attended over 256 court sessions.
This took
He never
8
once
years?
offered an apology nor explanation.
This should have
Instead,
took
he
a
reportedly
day.
developed a mental illness where he babbled nonsense in broken English and talked incoherently. It wasn't uncommon that people thought he was just trying to receive the insanity plea. His lawyer, however, had made a statement.
Bullshit. You peanut head looking fool. Who is this guy? Look at his mouth. Like he's just been chewing rocks. Do it, take him out. Give him the gas.
朝原死刑囚をはじめとするオウム事件の死刑囚の執行が行われました。
Shoka Asahara and his followers were all sentenced on death row. After the attack and trial, the cult members responsible for killing Sakamoto-san and his family had finally revealed the location of their bodies.
警視庁と神奈川県警の合同捜査本部は今日夕方、タチコちゃんと思われる遺体は今日夕方これまで捜索していた10メートル四方の地域に隣接する東側で発見されました。この地域は今日から捜索範囲を広げた部分で横から壁を削るように掘っていたところ、深さ1メートル。
そしてその坂本さんご一家がその後無残にも殺害されたという厳然たる事実です。ここにまず私たちは改めて坂本さんご一家のご冥福を心から深くお祈りし。
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta stop it for a minute. I'm sorry. It's just seeing such this pointless death like this, man. It just brings you a tear, and just hearing about the baby and just and that poor lawyer. And that's the thing, right? They said they believed they were doing the right thing. There's always said the most dangerous people in history, whether it be dictators, murderers, kings, queens, whatever, are the people who believe what they're doing is right. Because those are the people that will, because you believe what you're doing for right, you will go through any lengths to see it accomplished, no matter what happens. And it's again, sorry guys, it just hurts my soul. It hurts my soul to see that they would do such atrocities, like they would do such terrible things to people for some divine blood, for some apocalypse that only he can protect you from. It's just like, it should never have gotten this far. Never should have gotten this far, man. And just, and hearing her read about the book and the man, like I can't imagine. I can't imagine the pain that this, how terrified people were probably even to come out of their homes, who were scared to be in their homes even. Like, it's just that type of just fear and pain. Like, that takes a special type of person to do that, and to sit here and say he never ordered anybody to do it. And there are those fanatics who will, like, if they believe like if their cult, if their leader, the person they worship, is being disrespected, they'll take it in their own hands to do some. But no, this guy, he's the type of person who definitely got anger when people disrespected him or people tried to call him on his bullshit, and he will owe them hurt, and it's just messed up, man. But I apologize, guys. It's a guy. So I got a little bit emotional there.
ご遺族関係者の皆様にお悔やみを申し上げます。私自身番組の中で事実に反した放送をしました。私たちが報道機関としての存立基盤そのものを問われている中で、せめても課せられた責任を果たすための第一歩として現時点でできうる限りの取材をし、その結果を現場からの報告としてお伝えしてまいりました。しかし言うまでもなく 果を現場からの報告としてお伝えしてまいりました。しかし言うまでもなくこの番組だけで私たちの検証作業が終わるはずもありません。
By this point, it was 6 years after the incident. A memorial was built in Nagano Prefecture and is regularly visited by those closest to the family as well as the families of the victims. The cult member responsible for making the syringe to kill the lawyer was stabbed in front of the paparazzi by a Yakuza member before his trial even started.
Yeah! That's what you get! No, stab him! Damn, they got it on video. And once again, this is one of the reasons why I don't like any gang or organization of evil bad guys in the world. I have some respect for the Yakuza because they are about honor, and I could easily see like something like this would be just considered disgusting by them. All these pointless deaths and these people like like you shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't champion death, and we shouldn't be glad to see somebody die or stab. But god damn it, when you do things like this, you just seem unhuman, and it you can't help but have that thought, man. And I'm trying not to be so bold because I don't want to get demonetized by YouTube. I probably wasn't going to this video anyway, but like it's damn, man, how could you help? Like there's no way I would have stopped him. I'd have been like, honest to God, if that was me there, and if by Lord that was like one of my family members that or somebody I love care about that died during those attacks, I probably would have helped them. Like it's truly just disgusting and despicable, man.
Shoko Asahara died by hanging on July 6, 2018. He was 63 years old.
Damn, he was old.
He was cremated soon after he hanged at the Tokyo detention house,
but his
ashes remain there because his family disagrees over what to do with them. Authorities feared that giving the ashes to the family would turn into an item of worship for members still involved with the cult. One of the daughters of Asahara, who remains anonymous, was designated to receive his remains and to scatter his ashes into the Pacific. She had severed ties with her parents and had made statements regarding her childhood involvement with the cult. From the time I was around 2 or 3, I lived by myself in a room like a storehouse, with no windows. After my brother was born and I went into my mother's room, she turned me away saying, "There's no longer any room for you here." Both now and in the past, I never thought of my father as a dad.
How
when I
could
was
you?
born, my father was already a sect leader and a guru. I never once called him dad. The woman had claimed that she had been made to eat omelets with pieces of broken pot in them, and was even forced to stand outside in the cold for hours. This abuse made her fearful of being killed if she ever resisted.
This man is a
parents'
monster,
wishes.
man.
She had apparently applied in December 2015 to be
straight
removed
demon.
as
This
an
is
heir
like,
to the cult. The daughter and the lawyer
if you
agreed that
believe
it
in
would be best
evil,
to receive the
this
ashes
is
and
evil.
scatter them in the ocean so that followers could not create a holy land with them. The lawyer also asked the government to support the daughter in order to protect her from the possible attacks from followers or any attempts to steal the ashes. In the end, she added, "What I want to say most now is that I want a system under which children can cut ties with their parents if there are marked problems,"
I agree.
she said. "I'm grateful to my parents for giving birth to me, but I don't think I owe them anything when it comes to raising me.
How?
Considering the weight of my father's crimes, I don't think that there is any way for him to take responsibility, but for the death penalty to be
I would
carried
hate
out."
to be his
This was one
child,
of,
to
if not
live
the
with that
only
name.
child of Asahara who supported the death penalty on her father. Her siblings did not take kindly to that. Not long after this, her older sister came onto the media and even amongst other YouTube channels defending him, saying that their father was just mentally ill and pleaded for a retrial of his case.
Die!
The day that I lost most of my sense of reality and my clock stopped ticking. People think of him as a monster, but he was human.
Was he?
Naturally, the public went completely against the older sister
Yep.
and believed she was still part of the cult, trying to keep her father's memory alive on good terms. She went on to publish a book called A Clock That Has Stopped. She went on to argue that her father was mentally ill and should undergo treatment so people can hear what he has to say about the crimes. She has attempted suicide multiple times and has regularly tried to visit her father in Tokyo detention house, but not once did the staff ever let her see him.
Thank God. Good riddance. I'm sorry, man, but
Japan
good
removed
riddance.
most of its trash cans in fear that it could be a possible hiding spot for future attacks. Most of the trash cans you'll find are usually near a vending machine and occasionally in a park and a train station here and there. But Japan takes the placement of their trash cans quite seriously. In 2014 and 2017, when Donald Trump and Barack Obama were visiting Japan, they tightened security and sealed the trash cans shut until the end of his visit. On New Year's 2019, a man by the name of Kazuhiro Kusakabe intentionally plowed his car into a crowd in Harajuku district. He said it was in retaliation of the death penalty system. Investigation on linking his attack to the execution of the cultists who died the year prior is still unclear. Life after the event made it incredibly difficult for the children of Shoko Asahara to live normally.
I imagine.
Everywhere they went was faced with discrimination and resentment. Colleges,
probably got beat up,
and
jumped.
part-time jobs dismissed applications once they knew who they were. Unfortunately, the end of Shoko Asahara and his followers did not end the cult's existence, and in fact had split into two cults, called Aleph and the Circle of Light. Circle of Light constantly tries to make it public that they have nothing to do with 𝐬. Aleph also tries to make it clear that they have nothing to do with Shoko Asahara. But the Public Security Intelligence Agency warns that Aleph and the Circle of Light still remain devoted to Asahara in their own ways, while 𝐷 is designed as a terrorist organization by several countries. These two subcults are still legal in Japan, but under heightened surveillance and deemed
they shouldn't be legal at all.
And today, the police still carry out investigations and raids against the cults. In November
least they're watching
2017,
them.
the police raided 5 offices of Aleph after investigating a woman who was spending tens of thousands of yen for study sessions, but the group still reportedly has about 2,100 members and continues to recruit new members under the name Aleph. But in 2019, the Tokyo court demanded Aleph to pay out more than 1 billion yen to the victims of the attack.
How much is that American
March 20th,
money?
2021 marks 26 years since the event, and victims and families are still affected today. Every year, a memorial service is held at Kasumigaseki Station, where citizens can pay their respects in memory of those who were harmed. Sakamoto-san is still highly respected today at his family's memorial. Since the attack of 1995, Japan has never been the same. When
he was a
people
brave
see
man.
cult members, they never really think about the process of a person getting there. They just see the result. Everyone in life is on their own journey trying to find happiness.
Yep.
And sometimes that journey brings you into a crowd who wants to take advantage of that happiness.
A very dark
Cults
place.
will recruit you with positivity and the promise of a better life. They find
The
someone
easy
who is at
path.
the most fragile and tell them exactly what they want to hear in order to stay. And in worst cases like 𝐷 will threaten you once recruited. The one thing I think everyone should take away from stories about cults, if nothing else, is always think for yourself. No matter how desperate you are for a better life,
Never
always try
lose
to
your
look at the
sense.
bigger picture and weigh your options. Just because someone smiles at you and consoles you when you're down doesn't mean you're indebted to them. A person who truly wants nothing but the best for you isn't looking for anything in return. Cults go completely against that and want you and all of you. But thank you guys so much for watching and being patient with this On the Case series. These videos take a lot of
did an
time,
amazing
translation,
job.
and research, so if you would like in the meantime, feel free to support me on Patreon. But I'm Detective Aki, and thanks for watching.
Wow. That was great, man. Like, shout out to Aki, man. She did a great job. Just the way she told the story, man, it was great. So many of the facts and stuff. And the fact she's actually been to Japan, she's actually been to the place where it's happened, where that attack happened. Creepy end music. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, guys. That got me pretty emotional. I'm not even gonna lie. That got me somewhat emotional just watching that, man, because it's just like I can't stand such foolishness. I hate cults. I hate what they do. Like you said, they're just people who take people. Who take people when they're at their lowest, when they're at their most fragile, where they're broken, and just take their pieces and be like, hey, if you come follow me and do everything I'll do, your life will be perfect and it'll be easy and you'll get into heaven and blah blah blah, whatever bullshit they tell you to make you go along with. A lot of people do because they feel they have nothing else. They're like, well, I mean, like, there's nothing else out there for me, so I might as well do this. It's like, no, it just upsets me because I feel like people just forget the value that they are and the value that they have and what they truly bring to a situation. They just completely forget it when they throw it out the window, and it's one of the most like just spiteful things to me. I just hate it. I hate when they to take someone who's already broken and to make them do such horrible things, man. And then like just hear what happened to the lawyer and to his family, just all the people just really got me emotional. So again, that's why I apologized before. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to show my emotions. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm reacting. You guys are here to get my real raw emotions to why I react to, and it just truly hurt my soul to see that. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give me a subscribe and share. Help me continue to grow. Help the channel continue to grow. Keep into algorithm. Let me know your thoughts on the what you guys think of the cult. Is the cult still? I know the cult is still going today, but like, have you guys come in contact with people like them? Anybody's ever been in Japan? Like, what are they like? Let me know down below. Also, what are your thoughts? What did you think about it? Do you agree and say the death penalty was the right choice? Because I mean, like, I know people who are going to disagree, and there are people who believe the death sentence shouldn't happen. But I'm pretty sure the person that believes the eye for eye. I believe like all the death and all the harm he caused, and no, and I don't believe it was no mental bullshit or whatever. And if it was, he still caused those people's deaths. I'm sick of like, oh, because you're crazy, you should just get away with it. It's like, no, you killed these people, you should be punished for it in some way. So, but let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Make sure to check out the link in the description for the video. Go support 𝐂𝐲. There'll be a link to our channel as well, where you guys can go and watch all of our content. Go support her, please. Let me know. Again, let me know what things you'll react to from 𝐂𝐲 or anybody else. Make sure to follow me on social media down below, because I crack them out. Peace.